You're recovering from your past. You feel like life is taking your last. At your dreams you're starting to laugh. It's time to put down the emotional bags. Tune in to the Simply Self podcast. The Simply Self podcast. Tune in.
You are listening to the Simply Self podcast, hosted by Stephanie Sonia, aka Pastor Greer. Representing that mom life, hey. Representing that mom life, hey, hey. Hashtag mom life. Welcome to the Sheer Truth with Persephone Sonia. I am your host, Persephone Sonia, aka Pastor Greer. This episode is going to be a little bit different because I am going to be holding Alonzo the entire time. I put him to bed a little over an hour ago, and he's up. I was getting ready to record a podcast episode, and I say, you know what? I'm not going to break the creative flow. Alonzo woke up. He needed his mama, and I'm holding him. So if you hear cooing in the background or any squealing or any other random baby noises, it's Alonzo, y'all's nephew, Alonzo. Today's episode is called Big Lens, Big Wins. It's, his little baby yawn. It's recognizing the wins, what we call the small wins, which are really big wins, and just being grateful for the things that are going right, because in a world where there's so much going wrong, it's important to be able to recognize what's right. And there's so many things that I'm grateful for. Of course, one of them being this almost 16-pound baby that I'm holding right now, our beautiful son that was conceived with the help of God's miracle working and modern medicine. And just the fact that he's here and he's thriving and he's happy and healthy and all those things, it feels really good. And despite what we don't have yet, despite what hasn't happened yet, despite what we're waiting on, God has been so good to us. And this episode is definitely about being grateful and seeing the glass is half full. Definitely, optimism is important. Realism is just as important. I'm an optimistic realist. I definitely want to see the whole possibility and things going right. And I also realize that at times, circumstances call for things to go wrong in order for you to go in a different direction that may be better for you. I used to fight against things going wrong, but then I finally realized, and it wasn't too long ago, I finally realized that sometimes things have to go wrong in order for them to go right. Sometimes God has to allow what Bishop Bird calls situations for revelation, where things happen and it causes you to see things in a different way and do things better. And I so appreciate that. And, there's just some things that happened today that I was grateful for. One of the things is, let me tell you something. I have been eating a lot of taquitos. I have been eating a lot of soft tacos. Listen, there have been so many corn tortillas and flour tortillas being cooked in this house. And I finally, I had been thinking about, because, see, one of my favorite items on the Taco Bell menu is the Gordita Crunch, right? And we had run out of cheese because I had the shredded cheese. So I said, you know what? Let me use this queso in here in place of the cheese, right? Baby, when I tell you, them bootleg Gordita Crunches were everything. I had myself a good old time eating those. But it's things like that. It's like you go to do something, you don't have everything that you think you need. You use what you have. That's a whole message right there. You use what you have and you do what you can with what you have. And what you come up with is better than sometimes than what you thought you needed. And that's turning out to be my life right now. I think I need more than what I do in order to accomplish what God has called me to do. And what I'm seeing now is God is showing me, Alonzo, are you hungry? Because these breastfed babies are something else. Because he's like nibbling at my face. You want to nurse, man? Okay, let me finish a couple more points and then I'll nurse you, man. But stop thinking that you have to have everything in the perfect spot for things to go well. All God needs is your yes. All God needs is your obedience. And it doesn't always make sense. It's not just about what you do, it's about what you don't do. It's not just about what you say, it's about what you don't say. It was an incident that happened earlier this morning. We had another shooting in our neighborhood. And we have had a problem with the police not responding to calls. And I wanted to post a video talking about what happened and basically expressing my husband and I's, our displeasure in the Montgomery Police Department. But I know it was the Lord. The Lord was like, don't share this video. You can talk about the details, but you don't need to show the entire video. There are some identifying factors in the video that could put you and your family in danger. And I remember I talked to my mother earlier and I told her about what happened. And, she's a worrier. Her and my grandmother, they're very much worriers, right? But when she said, she was like concerned about the fact that I have footage of some of what happened last night. And she was like, I hope, you're not putting yourself, in danger, basically. And I said, you know what? In this case, she was right. And I'm still going to talk about what happened, but talk about it in a much more aware way, not just ranting about it. But I'm definitely going to talk about it in a way that puts more of the focus on the police and what they're not doing versus us being in the position that we are, because I don't want to bring any attention to the wrong thing, and unfortunately we live in a world where the criminals have more freedom than the people that are law-abiding citizens, and it sucks, because my husband and I, we have been experiencing and hearing shootings ever since we've been here in Montgomery. Ever since it'll be 2 years ago in June, right? The first few times that we heard about the shootings, it was still infuriating whenever it happens. But the first few times we were like, they're shooting again. Well, then at some point we ended up with a bullet hole through our wall because somebody was out shooting at 1:00 in the morning. And this time it hit home even more because our son is here. Now, that time that the bullet came through the wall, I was actually pregnant with Alonzo. But this time, he's here. And it hit me in a different way. And instead of ranting like I want to and sharing details like I want to, I have to be mindful of what that could be doing. So I have to talk about it responsibly. So like I said, it's not just what you say, it's what you don't say. And a lot of people don't understand that yet. They say whatever. They say whatever they want to say. And then they wonder why things turn out a certain way for them. Not saying you have to live in fear, not saying you have to be afraid of anybody, is saying you need to be smart about what you do. So your big win could simply be not saying something that you wanted to say. Your big win could be not doing something that you wanted to do. Me not posting that video, and it was funny because I was trying to post it, but because my storage on my iPhone is almost full, right? So it kept giving me warnings. Hey, your storage is almost full, because I have hundreds of pictures and hundreds of videos of my son, of course. And I was trying to upload the video, because the video was like 7 minutes long that I had recorded. And it was funny because I was even trying to decide whether I was going to let this be a public post or just ones for people on my friends list to see. But then again, if it was just for people on my friends list to see, it may not reach the people that it needs to reach, right? To bring awareness to what is not going on. Child, by the time I got done doing all that, I came to the conclusion, by inspiration of the Holy Ghost, that I did not need to post that video at all. So thank you, Lord. I don't know what you prevented, but you prevented something, so thank you. But, oh, Lonzo, you keepy. He's yawned like 4 times, so I'm gonna record the rest of this episode maybe later tonight or another day. But my son is like trying to eat my shoulder right now. He wants to nurse so he can go back to sleep. So I will check back in. You hear him? Trying to eat my shoulder. Lord Jesus, Alonzo. Okay. We finna go. And we're back. So, like I said, had to go feed y'all's nephew, put him back to sleep, and he's asleep for right now. So I'm gonna pray that he stays asleep for a good long while. It's good rest in. But anyway, I am so very grateful that I can see the glass is half full now, because I have lived so much of my life being mad at the glass. Being mad at the glass for not being full, instead of being glad that I had anything, that I had, first of all, that I had a glass to begin with. And then also being glad that there was something in the glass, even if it was just a few drops. It was my few drops. And I should have always been grateful to have my few drops, right? But you learn these things when you get older. You go through things, hopefully not too much, and hopefully you're not too much older when you realize that a win is a win. Like they have this, one of the viral sounds going around on TikTok and Instagram right now is a win is a win. A win is a win. And I truly believe that. Big wins, big wins. If you see it as a big win, it's a big win. If you see it as a goal that you didn't even realize you needed to reach, then that's exactly what it is. I am proud of myself. Let me tell you something. I've gotten to the point where I could look at myself in the mirror and say, Persephone, you did good, girl. You did good. I'm still battling with intrusive thoughts. I'm still battling with low self-esteem and trying to push past that. It's like your brain knows that you're capable. Your brain knows that you're talented. Your brain knows that you're intelligent. Your brain knows that you have so much inside of you, but your heart has been battered so many times. Your heart has been mishandled so many times that sometimes your head and your heart argue. And that's where the intrusive thoughts come in. And I just recently started seeing a therapist again. And she wants me, my homework in between sessions is to record my intrusive thoughts. Write them down, write down what the trigger was, keep record of that, and try to piece together a pattern with her of what triggers I could try to avoid the intrusive thoughts, or how to take the intrusive thought, see it for what it is, analyze it, and flip it around and realize the reality of it. I'm very excited about that. And there are actually a couple of intrusive thoughts that I missed, but I'll go back and add them later. A win is a win. A win is a win, because let me tell you something. This is something that I didn't realize until, like I said, I was much older, had been through some things. For as much as you don't have that you want right now, for as many goals as you still have on your list that you have yet to be able to cross off, as many dreams as you have that have not yet come to fruition, there is always going to be somebody that wants what you have right now. There's always going to be somebody that wants to be where you are right now. There's always going to be somebody that's going to wish they had half of what you have right now. Stop and thank God for that. Stop and thank God right now for what you have. For those of you that can breathe on your own, you can breathe on your own. You can speak. You can see, you can hear, you can walk. You may not be able to walk that long and that far and that fast, but you can walk. You have both of your feet. You have both of your arms. You can see out of both of your eyes. Your hair might not be as long as you want it, but at least you have hair. You can eat pretty much whatever you want, whatever you choose to eat. You don't have to have somebody feed you. You don't have to have a feeding tube. You can think. You haven't had massive brain damage, massive brain injury, a massive stroke. You can speak. You can communicate. You may not always be able to find the words, but you still have your intellect. Your intellect has not been damaged. You can remember things. You may not be able to remember everything, but you can remember stuff that happened to you when you were 3, when you were 5, when you were 7. And there are people that can't remember what they did 10 minutes ago. A win is a win. Just you waking up is a win. You may not wake up in the circumstance that you want to be in, but you woke up. Let's start there. You woke up. You can see, you can hear all these different things. I challenge you when you wake up in the morning, because let me tell you something, as a chronic pain sufferer, I can attest to the fact that some mornings I wake up pissed. I wake up mad, because it's like, God, can I wake up one morning and be able to move without pain? Can I wake up one morning and not be sore before I even move? Let's start with I woke up. Do you know how many people went to sleep last night, had their whole day planned out for what they were going to do today, had errands to run, had work to do, had kids to take care of, had a spouse to take care of, had projects to contribute to. They had plans. And these people did not wake up this morning. Or they woke up this morning, but not for long, because they died in a car accident, because they had a heart attack, because they just decided they weren't going to go on with life anymore and they ended their life. Do you realize how blessed you are to be able to exist? And it's not negating your dreams, your hopes, your goals, the feeling of, well, why am I not where I'm supposed to be? But that is valid. Let's also validate the part of you that should be grateful to have what you have. Are my husband and I absolutely and utterly exhausted from being new parents? Yes, but we're glad to be parents at all. Do I wish that my husband's schedule was more forgiving, where he could spend more time with us? Sure. However, I understand that my husband is doing work to work up the ladder so that he can continue to do things that would allow Alonzo to be able to have an even better life than we did when we were his age. Those things matter. I'm grateful to have a husband. I'm grateful to have a husband that works. I'm grateful to have a husband that comes home to me and doesn't go to some other lady's house. I'm grateful to have a husband that is just as involved in Alonzo's childcare as I am. I'm grateful to have a husband that doesn't grudgingly say I love you. He willingly tells me he loves me. I'm grateful to have a husband that anything I need or anything that I even want, that it doesn't even have to be a need. If there's something that I desire, he's going to try everything in his power to get it for me. And he also knows that there's just certain things I'm not going to ask for right now because I know where we are financially. I know where we are goal-wise. There's just certain things that we have to do in order. But I am grateful. I'm grateful for our son that despite him being born at 36 weeks and 4 days, he was technically a preemie. He didn't have to spend one day in the NICU. He was born at 7 pounds, 12 ounces, 20 inches long. He was, just nothing wrong with him. Just a beautiful, healthy baby. And I'm grateful that I had an incredible birth experience, even though the birth was nothing like what we thought it was going to be. Emergency C-section, preeclampsia. My asthma had kicked up real bad. I had a hard time breathing, hard time moving around. I was just grossly swollen, could barely, function. But we got to walk out of the hospital with this beautiful, healthy child. I know how blessed I am. And even though there's still things that I want to do, that I want to accomplish, things that I need, things that I want, I am grateful for what I have right now. Don't take what you have now for granted. Celebrate these wins that you have, the wins that you don't even realize are wins. And then you start talking to other people about their problems and what they have going on. And you look at yourself like, well, dang, I should feel better about what I have. You absolutely should. I challenge you. Stop being mad at the glass because there's only 3 drops of water in it. Just be glad that you have those 3 drops. Strive for more. Yes. Want more. Yes. Work towards more. Yes. And also be grateful for what you have. You've been listening to the Simply Self podcast. I am your host, Persephone Sonia, aka Pastor Greer. I love y'all with the love of Christ, and I will holler at y'all next episode. Bye.